This time on Rad Rat Video, we talk about what tricks are actually impossible. I came up with a list of a few that could maybe be done, but I don't think so. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding and skateboarding video games and other things in the skateboarding world. I have accumulated a few questions from you guys that you submitted through radratvideo.com. It's a form on the homepage that you can submit. The first one for today is from Luke. It says, what is your favorite and least favorite skateboarding video game of all time? Also, which one have you put the most time into? My least favorite is The Simpsons. And because you phrased it as least favorite, that's my answer. If you said the worst, I don't think it's the worst. There are a couple more like Skateboard Madness that are worse in the way that they just don't work and, really glitchy and terrible games. But The Simpsons, I think I hated the most. It was just like, it's so confusing in the way that they would frame you up for stuff. You never know where to go and how to get there. The challenge would just be get on this roof. And the way you get there is on the opposite side of the level. You have to get up onto this roof and then you can grind over here, then you grind over here, then you can transfer this way and you have to do it that way. But you have no way to know that. You're just always lost, always confused, and everything's really hard. And there's only a couple of tricks. And skating uphill is almost impossible. It just like sucks you back down. Like the gravity's super strong. There was a challenge where you had to do a grind. This was in the tutorial. You just had to hold a grind for like 5 seconds or something like that. And I could never even get close. I had to skip the rest of the tutorial because I couldn't even grind as long as it needed me to. Like it's just, it wasn't that bad from the engine. If you go into free skate and you just kind of cruise around, there's some tricks. Yeah, they're all like cartoony versions and not real tricks. But like it's fine. It's not broken. But trying to actually play through the career and do the challenges is horrible. I absolutely hated it. As far as which game I put the most time into, it'd definitely be Skate 3. Although Session is probably getting reasonably close. Skate 3, I've beaten it only a couple of times. I think maybe 3 times I played through the game and from the beginning. But I would always just turn it on. If I ever had some free time and I was just kind of kicking back, I used to have the PS3. When it came out, I lived at home with my parents. I had the PS3 in my room, and I had like a computer screen and some speakers, and I had all these weird adapters and stuff. And I'd just kick back and play some Skate 3. I would do that all the time. So I think it would be hard to catch up to the amount of time I put into that. I don't know what it is because I had the PS3 version and then I later had the Xbox, like the backward compatible version. So I don't know what kind of numbers. I've played a lot of Session lately though. I play it for like probably a half hour every day, just 10 minutes at a time as I wait for other stuff. And it's still really hard. I like that game. It's incredibly frustrating. There's some big glitches and problems. It's not, final release, so I hope that they fix some of that stuff. It's getting better. There was just a new update. But I spent a lot of time with that game. I like how granular that it is. Like you want to do this really specific trick, or you want to do it in an interesting way, and you want your shoulders to be turned this way and not that way. You have that kind of freedom in that game. With Skate, it's either in the game or it's not. In Session, you can kind of put it in the game by doing things just right. I like that. I hope they polish it up, by the time it comes out. If they do, that will probably be my favorite game. Okay. The next question is from LB. What discipline of skateboarding is the most dangerous? Kind of a tough question because every form of skateboarding is dangerous in some way. Even skating flatland, you can break an ankle, you can break an arm if you slip out and catch yourself wrong. You could get hurt. You could skate like vert and, just kind of get banged up slightly and then get really wrecked on flat ground. It's possible. It's not as likely though. I would say probably skating street and specifically handrails would be the craziest thing. If you ever see a ridiculous bail, it's usually on a handrail. The thing that always scares me is when someone is, they pop up and they either slip out, but like their foot hits, it goes like here's the rail and then there's the supports and their foot like it's caught underneath one of the supports and they just get thrown forward and wrenches their you can get in some real rough spots on handrails. You can even land, you grind it, you land with a ton of speed, and then you are slightly off balance and you slam into the corner of this thing over there. It always seems like the craziest and worst bails I've seen are on a handrail. But yeah, you can definitely get wrecked on anything. The worst bail that I know of was a guy that I knew his family. He was skating downhill just in like a new, like a unfinished, they were starting a new like housing subdivision, and they didn't have any houses up. It was just the road, and he was skating around. He hit a rock and busted his head open and had to get all kinds of like surgery and stuff. But you can get hurt with anything, but I think doing handrails is probably the riskiest. Okay. Kyle asks, what are your thoughts on Ripstix? I own one and it's fun to ride and do tricks on it. Do you think it's lame or cool? Love your content, by the way. So I've never skated on one. I had something similar that I will tell you about in a second. But I always think that seeing someone actually figure out how to do a trick, like actually pop a 360 flip on one of those and land it, is impressive. I always think that's cool. So yeah, I enjoy seeing stuff like that, especially if you could do like a grind on it. They're just so weird. I don't know. I haven't skated one of those, but I used to have something called a pump rocker. So this company, this was back in the day, this was on my old channel. They sent me a free board, and it was like a fishtail, like a single kick, flat nose, wider sort of like pool board. And the back truck was just a normal skate truck. The front wheel was there's only one, was like it would pivot. It was like a cart, like a shopping cart wheel. So it would pivot, and it could only go forward. If you ever landed backwards, because the wheel would pivot on the side like this. So you could only go this way. If you went this way, it would wobble, then it would turn around, and it couldn't turn all the way around. So if you went backwards, you would just like whip around to the side and fall off. And that was kind of fun. So it's called the pump rocker because you could kind of carve it and you could pump just on flat by doing this, and get speed and kind of cruise around with it. And I thought that was kind of fun. I lived on a dirt road. I could just kind of go up and down the driveway, so it wasn't that much fun to just pump and skate around. But I had a lot of fun trying to do tricks on it and trying to land something backwards and like pivot around quick before it forced me to by the wheel turning around. That was kind of cool. And that company offered to send me to the X Games. So this was 2007, 8, somewhere like that. And they sent me this board so I could show it off on my channel and do a little thing on it. And yeah, they offered to fly me out to the X Games. And I think they had a booth, or they just wanted me to like walk around with it. I don't know what the deal was. And I got them to take a friend of mine instead, because I was either in college or just started my first job or something like that. It wasn't a convenient time for me to be going to the X Games, but it was a really interesting thing. So yeah, I think all that kind of stuff can be fun, to just have like a weird skateboard and try to do basic stuff on it. It's kind of like, that's the essence of skateboarding, really. Like skating street is about repurposing a thing that wasn't designed to do something, right? So like a curb is not designed to do a slappy on, but like it feels good to be able to conquer it and to use it for your own purpose, right? So to have a skateboard that's designed to only roll one way, and to do a trick to fakie and actually roll away from it and figure out how to, like, that's cool. That's fun. So yeah, I'm a big fan of stuff like that. I've never tried a Ripstix specifically though. The last question is from Jake, who asks, would a backside wheelie grind tray flip out be possible? Are some tricks forbidden? So I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction and talk about which tricks are impossible. We'll get to that in a second. But a backside wheelie grind tray flip out is not possible because it has to be a nollie tray. But if it is, then yeah, you could, because you would be grinding like this, and then you could pop the tray out that way, and that would be fine. But I wanted to figure out what tricks are almost possible but not. So it's really easy to come up with the tricks that are impossible. Flat ground 540 to fakie 5-0. Okay, that's not going to be possible. It's really easy to come up with stuff that could never be done. But I wanted to come up with stuff that is like right on the fringe. Something that you could do in a game and it would look realistic. But if you really thought about it, might not work, okay? So you mentioned a front Willie, what about, or a back one, how about a front one? So the thing is, you could tray flip out of a front Smith because once you reach the end of the ledge, you can spin toward it. But if you're doing a front side one and you have to pop this way, I don't know how you could do it. That one would be super tough. How about a back feeble on a ledge? So not on a flat bar, but on a ledge, and then do a hard flip out. I don't think that one would be possible because to grind on the ledge in a feeble, you'd have to have your weight mostly on your heel, and then you'd have to kind of shift it over to pop the tail. It seems like it would just slip off. I don't see how you could do that. And by the way, if you've seen any of the tricks that I mention here that I don't think are possible, tag me on Instagram in the comments. I would love to see the comments of the post on Instagram. Tag me in there so I can see it, because I know some of these are technically possible. I just don't think that anyone could do it from, like, you know, it's just awkward. If you've seen some, let me know, because I think they would all be cool. Next one I came up with would be a varial heel flip front side nose grind. And backside, I've seen that. I've seen it with a flip out too. I've seen a varial heel flip front crook, I think, but I'm talking about you roll up to the ledge, varial heel flip, the tail up and over, you know, the hard way, land in a perfectly straight nose grind. That would just be crazy hard. If you went at a really sharp angle, like me, I'm not talking about on like a quarter pipe either. On a ledge, you roll up at a normal angle. It's all, you know, if it was a really sharp angle, you could kind of almost like big spin heel flip onto it. But no, roll up mostly straight, varial heel flip front nose grind. Not perfectly straight, but front side. I think that would be almost impossible. How about a tail slide pressure flip out? I think this one could technically be done, but I have a hard time picturing it. I'm pretty good at pressure flips, and I was trying to do a pressure flip on just a deck, you know, just a deck on the carpet, and I got really close. I could get it to flip, and it didn't quite want to come around all the way. I think I landed one that wasn't quite fully spun. You know, it didn't come all the way around, and I kind of landed with my heel down. I think that's the closest I got. I'm pretty good at those, and I spent a lot of time trying it. Pressure flip on carpet with no trucks, right? Doing it out of a tail slide, I think, would be even harder because, you know, you have to, the actual timing, you have to get into the tail slide and then get ready, and right at the right moment you do it. But you could dip the nose down slightly and get a little bit more pop, but you're also going to get less scoop because you're sliding. Like, that one seems so borderline. I've seen a tail slide impossible out, which is kind of in a similar vein, but it was a really flat impossible by Dave Mayhew. And yeah, I just have a hard time picturing pressure flip out of a tail slide. Front side specifically. All right. How about a back nose blunt nollie impossible? I just can't picture. So you would pop up, you go backside, you pop up, you pull your back foot around, you're kind of pushing the tail, you know, like a normal nose blunt. You got your shoulders kind of going this way. You have to pop your front foot and wrap a full 360 and then some to straighten out, to do the impossible out of the back nose blunt to normal, not to fakie. Because if you could turn your shoulders, I feel like it's maybe doable. But back nose blunt, nollie impossible to regular, I don't know about that one. Dark slide, kickflip, underflip. So this one's just, you know, again, you could come up with an endless list of ridiculously impossible tricks. But this one seems vaguely believable. Okay, so I'm talking about you pop up, half flip, land in the dark slide like this, you know, not on the nose, foot right here. You could pop and do a half kickflip. Now, I think I've seen that. Normally you don't land a dark slide that way. You normally pressure flip out, you know, like heel flip direction. But you could pop and kick flip. But if you could kick flip a half flip, you could probably catch it and flip it back. But it would be ridiculously hard. From a physics perspective, I think that one is possible. I don't think there's anything that would stop you other than it just being ridiculously difficult. All right, got a couple more. How about a front salad inward heel flip? That's kind of like the first one, the hard flip out of the back feeble. Just having your weight in a different spot with the front feeble, being able to pop you don't really get a lot of pop, you know, from a feeble because you're pinched. And to pop an inward heel flip, I don't know. I could see it happening. But it feels like if you did a really, like, you're tweaked almost all the way, like you're almost in a front blunt, and you can heel flip almost straight and it just barely spins at all, then you kind of meet it this way and pivot a little bit. Maybe that one might be doable, but I don't think so. Last one, or no, two more. Last is a nollie 180 nose grind, switch 360 out the opposite way. You can do this in any stance, I'm sure, but this is the one I thought of. So pop front side, land in the switch 5-0 or the fakie nose grind, then switch front 360 out. So you're going this way, catching it, and then back this way. I think you'd break your shoulders and hips trying to do that. And I don't mean spin a little bit past 90 into a switch salad and then a little bit, you know, land in a bank so you don't have to spin all. No, a full 180 into a full 360. I don't think from a physics perspective that one is actually possible. If you dragged your foot slightly during the grind, you can maybe reset your shoulders. There's a chance, but I don't think so. Last one is the last one because it was starting to get a little bit ridiculous, is a 1 foot nose slide nollie late flip out. Like, I think it's theoretically doable. So you can pop in, slide with one foot. This part's not that hard. If you could kind of push it off, if it was kind of a high ledge, kind of push it off. This foot's just dangling over here. Push it off, then flip real fast before you land. I would love to see that. That would be crazy hard. So yeah, if you want to take the challenge and try any of these tricks, or if you know any, tag me on it in Instagram. I would love to see any of these. I'm sure a couple of them have been done. I haven't seen any of them though. I'm pretty sure they're all on the very edge of possible. That's what this list is. It's not super ridiculous, but just right on the edge of possible. So that's it for now. If you have your own questions, go to radratvideo.com and submit them there. You can also sponsor the channel on Patreon for some stuff. You can also join here on YouTube for some benefits here as well. And make sure you hit the like button and subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.